when the man you've betrayed decides to take legal action, filing a lawsuit for every lie, dollar, and year you took from him. It marks the beginning of one of the most shocking legal battles in reality TV history. Doug Christie is now targeting his wife and team member, Chris Webber, with a lawsuit that is set to have far-reaching consequences. Doug didn't respond emotionally or plead for sympathy. He enlisted lawyers. Jackie Christie and Chris Webber are now facing a lawsuit that includes claims of paternity fraud, identity deception, emotional distress, and a demand for over $4.6 million in damages, following a DNA test that confirmed Chris Webber is the biological father of Jackie's daughter. This case is about more than just betrayal. It involves legal contracts, back child support, and a fight for the legacy they tried to build. Currently, Jackie's brand is faltering, Chris's sponsorship deals are disappearing, and Chantel finds herself torn between two identities, navigating both a courtroom battle and a lie that continues to unravel. For 2 decades, Doug Christie remained silent, but now he's taking action. This isn't just about retribution. It's the reckoning of Jackie Christie's empire. Being betrayed is one thing, but discovering that the child you've raised for 20 years is not your own is another. On top of that, to face public humiliation, deceit from your wife, and even subtle teasing from your own teammate, Doug Christie is not going to walk away quietly. He's prepared to fight for everything. The lawsuit, filed in Los Angeles County, Superior Court, reads like the script of a courtroom drama, but this is no fiction. It's Doug Christie against Jackie, Chris Webber, and Christie's former business partner. The charges carry a significant weight, and I'll break it down for you here. Doug is suing Jackie and Chris for intentional emotional distress, paternity, fraud, civil identity manipulation, and public misrepresentation for financial gain. He's also seeking retroactive financial damages, totaling $4.6 million. And yes, Doug's legal team warns that this figure could increase as more evidence emerges. What kind of evidence do they have? Well, every lie is accounted for. Every document, every secret Jackie and Chris hoped would never come to light is now part of the legal case. Doug's team even included a second DNA test that shows a 99.998% match between Chris Webber and the child in question. The DNA test results have confirmed there is no biological connection between Doug Christie and Chantel. Take a moment to absorb that. In addition, Jackie's journal entries reveal she knew the truth all along. A leaked voicemail also surfaced, showing her urging Chris Webber to stick to a fabricated story. Furthermore, a clause in her VH1 contract suggested she was raising her biological child with Doug. Jackie built her TV career, her brand, and her public persona based on a lie. Now, Doug is seeking every dollar that this deception earned. But that's not all. Doug is also demanding a full public correction of the birth certificate. His goal isn't just financial compensation. He wants Chris Webber to be officially recognized as the biological father on all future public records and private documents. This isn't a petty request, it's about setting things right permanently. Sources report that Jackie was emotionally shattered, allegedly collapsing in her foyer and crying for hours when the lawsuit was served. But this isn't the reaction of an innocent woman. It's the panic of someone caught in a web of deception. Meanwhile, Chris Webber has remained silent. No public statement, just rumors circulating that he switched legal representation and fired his publicist. Now, let's examine the court strategy. Doug's legal team is not only targeting Jackie, but aiming for a much bigger precedent. A prominent Beverly Hills litigation expert shared with the media, "This isn't just about Mr. Christie. This is about any man who has raised a child based on a lie. We are working to establish paternity fraud as a serious civil offense with severe legal consequences." In other words, they are laying the groundwork for future cases where fathers, betrayed by lies, can seek justice. Now, let's talk about the financial details, which is where things get complicated. Doug's attorneys have compiled a list of losses. These include $180,000 for private school expenses, $95,000 for college costs, $72,000 in medical expenses, $230,000 for a Sweet 16 party, featuring beau wow $75,000 for various gifts, vacations, vehicles, and clothing, $150,000 in brand damage to Doug's name due to false paternity claims, $500,000 in emotional distress. On top of these, Jackie's VH1 income and sponsorships totaled $188 million, all earned based on lies. This does not even include Chris Webber's share, which Doug insists should be split 50-50 between the two defendants. In total, Doug is seeking $4.6 million, and that figure continues to rise. Jackie and Chris could be held accountable for more than $2 million each. But here's where things take a turn for the worse. According to an insider, Doug's legal team issued preliminary subpoenas on Jackie's financial records and uncovered several hidden payments, shell accounts, and consulting fees from fictional reality TV companies. The court might even consider televising the trial, along with investigating the falsified birth certificate as part of a criminal review. This is the gradual unraveling of a carefully constructed empire, and it's far more than just a scandal. While Doug's legal team was preparing a methodical approach to dismantling Jackie in court, she was behind the scenes doing what she does best: scheming. If you thought Jackie Christie's scandal couldn't escalate any further, think again. Sources close to the case now confirm that Jackie tried to reach out to Chantel, not to apologize or explain, but seemingly to buy her silence during the deposition process. Yes, you read that correctly. A woman who spent 20 years concealing the truth about her daughter's biological father is now accused of attempting to pay her daughter to avoid testifying in court. Here's what allegedly happened. 2 days after Doug's legal team requested a witness notary for Chantel, Jackie's assistant is said to have delivered a sealed envelope containing $15,000 in cash and a handwritten note that read, "You don't have to get dragged into this. Let your folks handle it. I'll take care of you." This, without a doubt, is witness tampering. But Chantel didn't participate. She took photos of the envelope, kept the note, and sent everything directly to Doug's lawyer. Within hours, Jackie received a cease and desist letter, and the court was notified. Jackie's response? She seemed rattled. In the early morning hours, she went live on Instagram, rambling about loyalty and people switching sides, before abruptly ending the stream mid-sentence. Commenters quickly pointed out the obvious. "Jackie, you tried to buy the silence of your own daughter. This is criminal. You're tampering with a witness while the whole world watches." Jackie's actions have now gone from scandalous to dangerously reckless. As depositions officially began, more moves began to surface, and the leaks were striking. Doug sworn. Testimony has already made waves, with partial transcripts from his statement being released. One quote, in particular, caught the media's attention. "I spent 20 years defending Jackie's reputation. Now, I see I was covering the lie, not the woman." That statement was a major revelation. Doug also spoke about the psychological toll it had taken on him, admitting, "There were times I felt something was off, but I ignored it. I valued my family. Though love doesn't excuse dishonesty, I felt I was acting morally." Next, it was Jackie's turn to testify, and her account quickly became problematic. She claimed she never intended to hurt Doug, but then admitted that she suspected the child wasn't his from the very beginning. She struggled with the questions and contradicted her earlier statements. One key exchange went as follows. Attorney: "Did you specifically mark Mr. Christie as the biological father on Chantel's birth certificate?" Jackie: "I did say his name." Attorney: "So you confirmed paternity orally without a test?" Jackie: "I didn't list him. The nurse just asked." Attorney: "Yes, but it was emotional, correct?" It was a shaky defense. Then Chris Webber entered the room. No lawyers, no entourage, just him, walking slowly into the deposition like a man facing a difficult moment. What he said next shifted everything. Chris testified, "Jackie told me she wasn't sure. I knew the possibility existed. While silence can be just as harmful, I remained silent to protect Doug and her." His testimony under oath was crucial. That single quote placed him in a position of financial fraud and emotional harm liability. Doug's lawyer immediately took advantage of the opening, asking, "You deliberately allowed another man to raise your daughter for 20 years without telling him the truth?" Chris paused, then answered, "Indeed, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life." Too little, too late. Now the court had all it needed: falsified identities, a confirmed DNA match, a history of silence, and a bribery attempt. Behind the scenes, Doug was moving strategically, gathering momentum. Through his attorney, Doug issued a clear public statement. "This is about responsibility, not retribution. A lie I never asked to carry changed my life." The people who created that lie will answer for it. This statement resonated with the public and soon, #justice. For Doug began trending online. Paternity fraud laws are gaining traction in advocacy circles, with verified accounts contributing to the conversation. Duncan Christie represents a quiet form of retribution, taking back control in a calculated manner. Jackie's brand is in decline. Her real estate company dropped her, the podcast she co-hosted was canceled, and her reality TV syndication rights were revoked due to breaches of moral clauses. Meanwhile, Chris is privately spiraling as Jackie suffers professionally, financially, and emotionally. An insider reportedly shared a message, supposedly from Weber to his team, which read, "This is spiraling. I just wanted it buried. I never expected it to go to court." The scandal is now front-page news, reaching global audiences, even picking up traction on international gossip sites. In response, Chantel has decided to legally change her last name, citing emotional distress and the need to reconstruct her identity. In a leaked interview, she said, "This is about living in reality, not the script my mother created." She also revealed the title of her upcoming book, Built on Lies: My Life as Someone Else's Daughter. This book could further damage Jackie's public image, but for now, attention shifts back to the courtroom. Jackie could potentially face criminal charges due to her attempt to bribe Chantel. If Doug's team splits claims, Chris Weber might be on the receiving end of a second civil lawsuit. Doug has not only filed for damages, but is also seeking reimbursement orders. There is even a motion to televise the entire trial. Yes, you heard that correctly. This case, with Jackie, Doug, and Chris at the center, might soon be available for public viewing. Testimonies, cross-examinations, and all of it could play out on screen. VH1 is closely monitoring the situation, considering whether to cut ties with the Basketball Wives franchise and rebrand entirely. Throughout all of this, Doug has remained calm, composed, and methodical. Sources say he turned down every reality TV offer, including those suggesting a documentary about the crisis. When asked why, he reportedly told his staff, "I didn't ask for the spotlight, but now that I have it, I'll use it to tell the truth, not to entertain." This reflects both power and class. A man who lost everything but still walked away with dignity. Jackie, on the other hand, is trapped by the court, the media, and even her own daughter. Now, the only question left is how far this will go. Reporters lined the courtroom walls, cameras waited outside, and even former NBA colleagues and reality TV producers slipped in through side doors. This wasn't just a court case. It was closure 20 years in the making. At the center of it all sat Doug Christie, silent, focused, and resolute. The trial began with strong opening remarks from Doug's attorney, who stated, "The two people Mr. Christie trusted most manipulated, misled, and defrauded him. The court will find this is about identity theft, emotional abuse, and the exploitation of loyalty, not just about DNA." The court wasn't buying the narrative, as the evidence was already laid out: the DNA tests, the fake birth certificate, the voicemail to Chris, the journal entries, and even the bribe attempt. Jackie's lawyer attempted to portray her as a confused young mother who made a mistake during an emotional time. Then came day 2, the day Jackie stood in all black, her false humility evident in every gesture. At first, Jackie appeared composed, trying to maintain control. She stated, "I loved Doug. I still do. I just didn't know how to tell him the truth without losing everything." But under closer scrutiny, her mask quickly began to crack. The attorney pressed her with the question, "Did you knowingly let Mr. Christie believe Chantel was his child for over 20 years? Jackie answered, "Yes." The attorney continued, "Did that belief benefit you personally or financially?" Jackie replied, "Yes." Whispers spread through the courtroom as the attorney moved in for the next question. "Would you say your brand, your book deals, your public persona would have existed without that lie? Do your TV contracts reflect that?" Jackie paused, blinked, then answered with a soft, "No." At that moment, her composure completely broke. Her hands trembled, her eyes were red, and her mascara began to run. The court then called Chantel Christie to the stand. The woman who once dominated every Basketball Wives reunion with her sharp words now struggled under oath. As Chantel approached the witness stand, silence filled the room, She appeared calm, composed, and ready. Sitting down, she locked eyes. With her mother, took a deep breath and spoke clearly. "I didn't know the truth about my paternity until this year, and when I did, it wrecked me." Her testimony was raw, painful, and precise. She explained why Chris Webber occasionally appeared at family events and revealed the lies her mother had told her about her father's identity. Chantel recalled asking her mother, "Why does Uncle Chris always cry when he sees me?" Her mother had replied, saying he was just emotional. Chantel, too young to understand, didn't know the truth, that Chris was not actually her uncle. But Chantel wasn't finished. She recounted how she felt used, manipulated, and publicly exploited as part of the brand. Her most powerful statement was, "Doug was the only parent in my life who never lied to me, until he found out the lie I'd been told." Even the judge seemed shaken by this admission. Chantel's final words struck a powerful chord. "Though truth hurts, lies destroy people." This sentence went viral instantly, resonating with everyone in the room. The courtroom erupted in applause, forcing the judge to quiet the assembly. The verdict was unanimous. Jackie Christie was found guilty of emotional manipulation, paternity fraud, and financial distortion, ordered to pay $2.9 million in damages. Chris Webber was found jointly liable for the willful concealment of paternity and emotional damage caused by his prolonged silence. He was ordered to pay Doug $1.7 million in restitution. Doug, finally cleared and redeemed, was declared the victim of a 2-decade-long deception. As Jackie exited the courtroom, paparazzi swarmed, capturing the moment of her fall from grace. Jackie had no response. Her team issued a brief statement saying, "We respectfully disagree with the decision and are considering all alternatives." It was a simple expression of silence and shame, with no apology or acceptance of responsibility. Chris Webber, however, took a different approach. That evening, he released a public message. "I made mistakes. I stayed silent for too long. More than anything, I hope Chantel knows how proud I am to be her father. Doug may forgive me one day. Too little, too late." But the final twist came when Chantel chose to speak at a press conference outside the courtroom, with Doug by her side. She addressed the crowd. "While the court has told us what the law says, my heart tells me Doug Christie is the only father I have ever known. My soul will carry that name. Chris may be my biological father, but Doug is my family." She hugged Doug in front of the cameras, a moment of public affirmation. From a distance, Jackie watched the headlines unfold. The woman who built her empire on deception had lost everything: her public image, her daughter, her husband, and her legacy. All of it was gone. Doug, however, didn't celebrate or ridicule. He left the courtroom with his head held high, walking away with a renewed purpose. Later, he shared that he was working with a national organization focused on combating paternity fraud, helping fathers who found themselves trapped in similar lies. "This is the story of thousands, not just mine," he said. "I won't stop until every one of them has a voice." This wasn't about noise. It was about intent. Who truly walked away clean? Now, the lies were exposed and buried. For over 2 decades, Jackie Christie built her career on a family founded on falsehoods. The question remains, should Jackie be arrested for this? Chris Webber allowed another man to raise his child, all while hiding the truth. Now he seeks forgiveness. Doug gave him everything, only to be betrayed in silence. So, the real question is, was this just emotional damage, or a calculated and profitable deceit? Since silence didn't protect anyone, it participated. Should Chris Webber be banned from receiving any future NBA honors? As for Chantel, she was the only one who walked away with her soul intact. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Don't hold back, don't sugarcoat it. Let the world know what you would do if your legacy was destroyed and your family was fabricated as shown in this video. If you believe liars should face consequences, subscribe and turn on alerts, because the next secret might make this one seem like child's play. We are here to break the story, not just report the drama. We're on the ground level,